Well, this is Dr. Miller, and I'm at the airport. And so I want to take a moment just to discuss the mental game and taking care of yourselves and just being active. A lot of people want to sit here and say, "Oh, I've done my day of work. And since I've done my day of work, I'm just done." And they want to go home and they want to sit in front of the television, or they want to watch their news, or they want to scroll on Facebook or whatnot. That really isn't living. And so that's really not health, and it's really not wellness. And that part is exercising the physical body. But what about the mental body? What are you doing to keep your brain engaged? And that's a legitimate serious question, because how many of us now have friends and family members that have had some form of a neurodegenerative disease? And so what is one of the things that they're saying is do stuff. And so if you're married, or if you have a partner, or whatever the case may be, if you're by yourself, I say partner because I'm married. And since I'm married, part of my job is to make sure that Jessica feels fulfilled. So is she getting to do the things that she wants to do? I'm in Madison right now. I'm at the airfield. And so since I'm at the this is one of the things that I get to do. I want to get my private pilot's license. If you're following us on Facebook, you see that currently we are building a greenhouse, and that is purely Jessica. I mean, I want to garden, and I we are the crunchy doctors that do the do the cold plunge, and we do all this stuff. But she engages her mind by reading about plants, and then she wants to grow them. And so, as both a doctor and as her husband, I want to make sure that she feels fulfilled. So what are you doing to fulfill yourself? What are your hobbies? What I mean, I'm not talking Sudoku. I'm talking, once you leave work, are you doing something that engages you, that makes you happy, that gets you excited, that gets you to want to get out of bed? So, I'm here on an evening. My bedtime is literally in about 30 minutes, but I won't get home till past that. And that's because I'm constantly learning. And then you got to think about the fields that I deal with. I'm constantly learning in the functional medicine field. I'm constantly learning about planes. Now I'm constantly learning about building a greenhouse. And I'm lamenting that I didn't listen to my father more when he was trying to teach me all that stuff. And so keeping the mind engaged, especially if you are less than 60, 70 years old. And then if you are with a significant other, making sure that they are fulfilled as well. And, today Jessica was out getting mulch and getting potting soil, and she was making sure that the strawberry beds were all lined up. And so it's using both the physical and the mental aspects. And then when I help her fulfill her hopes and aspirations and dreams, then what that does for me is that gives me a sense of accomplishment. And that should give you a sense of accomplishment. If you help someone else also, that is, it's an intangible, but it's something that you get that most people feel good about. And so you have to engage your brain. It's kind of funny. I was reading, when my mother died in 2012, and she was worried about dementia and worried about Alzheimer's, because grandma had died from complications of Alzheimer's. I started doing reading about, okay, how do we prevent this. And of course, oh, you can do the Sudokus and you can do those crossword puzzles and stuff like that. But then there are other things like taking a different way to work. Wake your brain up. Don't drive. I drive 30 minutes to work, and I try to take different routes when I can, because that exercises the brain. But then learn a hobby. So the things that I do. So I'm very proud that I practice what I preach. I take the supplements. I do the tests. I'm always refining what I am doing to myself. But from the mental aspect of it, I'm still learning guitar. I am learning how to fly. I am building on the grounds, learning how to do a roof and learning how to do siding and doing all of these things. And so there's always that aspect of keeping the brain sharp and learning and being engaged. And that's part of being healthy. That's part of being a productive human. That's part of being a service to others. Because even though I'm building the greenhouse, I'm sure family members will start plants. And then Jessica will have plants that she will give to others so they can propagate and do what they want to do. And so, her thing is gardening. She loves plants and she loves animals. And so that allows her to get in there and do those things so that she expands her mind and she learns about more. I was just thinking about, I pretty much read, well, I listen to a book a week. I just finished An American Life about Ben Franklin, and then I also finished his autobiography. So that learning never stops. And then when I get home, I'll sit down with Jessica on the couch and I probably spend 30 to 45 minutes tops in front of a television. And we just kind of wind down with that. I put on some blue blocker glasses, and that's how we wind down. And then we go to bed. So it's not that I get off of work and I look at sitting down on the couch as a well deserved reward. No, I get off of work and then I get to go home and I get to build something, or I get to sit down and I practice chords, or I start to read the regulations for the airplane. You have to exercise your mind, and the way that you will exercise your mind is by learning something new. Continually keep the brain engaged. When you do that, you increase BDNF, which is anti-inflammatory. You increase neurotransmitters, you increase their production. Of course, you've got to make sure you're getting good amino acids and stuff like that in. But that mental game of learning and learning new things is so vitally important to brain health. And it's not to be taken lightly. When you just sit down and veg in front of the television or the computer or Facebook, that mindless activity is like being sedentary and it makes it weak. So, unfortunately, I'm without Jessica, so I can't get her add in on this. But it is, as always, with her in mind, that I start to think about doing the things with the greenhouse and stuff like that, because that's what she loves to do. And I get pleasure and joy and happiness out of having her get pleasure and joy and happiness. Have a great evening. We'll see you next week.